Hi guys. Okay, so I don't have my normal lighting set up because I did move my room around um, to where it was, and so I'm using this lamp here as lighting because it's obviously dark. I am just getting in from this community group that I have at church in my Orchard Church, and I'm gonna be honest and say that choosing to get into a church um, a couple months ago was the best decision that I've ever made in my Christian journey, because I became a Christian in 2016, and I the testimonies too much for like online, and I've never shared it really with that many people, so it's something that it's just too much. Um, but I started getting into the Bible originally by myself, and then I got into a Christian relationship with somebody that was higher up in the Bible, and we did Bible studies together. Obviously, that relationship just wasn't a very healthy relationship whatsoever, um, and so. But I ended up getting, sick and all this kind of stuff, and just years and years. And I ended up backsliding, is what it's called, just where you end up getting out of the Bible again. Um, and after what happened in the last place I was living in, um, the horrific thing that happened in the last place I was living in, um, I was missing something out of my life. And it wasn't like a relationship. It wasn't um, like a career. It wasn't that. I was just missing having my relationship with God. And while I've always been a prayer warrior and I've always prayed for people, I was just missing being in the Bible. Um, and I'm very infantile in the Bible. I'm very like what they would consider an infant in the Bible. And I didn't have a church. And I didn't know anybody that had a church. And while I've been here for, goodness gracious, in this area for like 20 plus years, um, I don't have any friends. And I'm not ashamed to say that because I'm just not a worldly person. I'm just not a person that's out there in this world. Um, while I've had people that I associate with or are amicable with, or like you coincide with, friendship though, friendship is something I always wanted. And when I moved to Marietta in this area, when I was 29 years old, I was so much younger than all the other moms, and I just didn't fit in, and I just didn't make any friends, unfortunately. And well, I had some fake people come into my life at certain times. They never stayed. I did end up making a friend on YouTube when I was doing YouTube for a living as a makeup artist. But that relationship was super, super toxic. I didn't realize actually how toxic that relationship actually was until I got out of it, and obviously all the trauma happened. And with losing my mom, the car accident, and go on and on. Just like I could go on. It was just a lot in 2021 and 2022. It was like really, really hard years. In those years, and getting trauma therapy and just therapy in general, and because I wasn't in the Bible, and just getting therapy in general, and just realizing how to set boundaries and non-negotiables, and loving myself again, working out, etc. I realized how toxic that relationship was. It was so toxic, and I wish it wasn't. I wish it wasn't so toxic. I really do, but it was. And it's nothing, I have no animosity towards it at all. I wish the best, obviously. I just couldn't believe that I allowed that for so long. I know that me and my children have talked about it at times, and they're just like, it was crazy. And just how I allowed somebody to talk to me or talk down to me all the time, because it wasn't always like that. It wasn't like that at the beginning years. It was like that towards the end. And it's sad, but I have never made friends from that until I started about a couple months ago when I moved into my new place. I was missing something in my life, and I was so tired of I was not doing dating sites. I just was like not doing dating sites, and while I continued to look for a career, and continue to look for a job in this economy, which has been horrifically horrible, interview after interview of nothing. But I still will have the faith that it will happen. I went out on a limb and just was like, okay, I'm going to reach out in the community for a church. And they came up with basically people recommended these 3 different churches. So I prayed over it and I came to the church that I'm going to. And and the thing is because I have been in the Bible before, and because I am a prayer warrior, I've always had what I consider discernment. And so, and if you're a Christian, you know what that is. It wasn't as strong for sure. And there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up, but yeah, so it wasn't as strong. But the thing is that I just prayed over it, and I came to this church, and it was Orchard, and I was going by myself, and I was nervous, and it was putting me like I haven't gone to church since I was a Catholic back in the day, and I was like nervous about going, but I went in, and I'm going to tell you that it was the best decision I've ever made. I just felt this rush of peace that came over my body, and I just felt so at home. I love the word. I love that Pastor Jim reads out of the word. And I joined groups. I joined a group, and it's just the most amazing group ever. People that are so like-minded and so sweet and so kind. And I know when I talk about them to like my kids or like, to the church and stuff like that, I'll get very, very emotional. I'm a very emotional person in general anyways, but just I'll get so emotional over it because I'm just diving into the Bible like heavily because I love God and Jesus, and I'm changing my platforms to spreading the word. And if people love it, then that's great. And if they don't, then they're not for me. But I feel like it's my purpose in life to not just do that, but also the other things that I enjoy, but to let people know that this is like, I love God, I love Jesus, I'm a Christian, and and so I just got back from my Christian group, and I just felt the need to share this with somebody, like somebody out there that might need it, that might need, or on the fence about doing something like this, or getting in the Bible, or getting to know Jesus, or getting into the Word, or going to that church. And I'm saying to you that you should, because it's the most amazing experience ever. And this Sunday have a class, and then I'm getting baptized on November 2nd, and I'm so excited. And I can't say enough great things. And so I have a lot of platforms, obviously, that you'll see all my stuff on. And I have a lot of platforms that are just faith-based. I have an Instagram that's just faith-based, that's linked off my main, and I have a TikTok that's just faith-based, that's linked off to my main on there. But I'm also changing those into being faith-based as well, along with obviously other things. So just those other ones are just completely faith-based. And so I just feel this calling to like try to spread the word as much as I can, and just if I can help somebody, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I just wanted to share that tonight before I go and take a shower and get ready for bed, because obviously I've been down for 3.5 weeks now with a chronic pancreatitis on liquid still. I have blood work tomorrow for gene testing, and to find out, because I have idiopathic pancreatitis, which means there is no cause for it. And so they're going into deep gene, kind of figure out there's like a gene mutation, etc., to what's happening here, because I can't seem to get a break with this flare, and it's a very different kind of flare. So I have to just pray and know there's a purpose to everything. And because 4 weeks ago, I was working out heavily and doing great and eating amazing. And now I'm like on pure liquids and I'm very tired. But I get in that Bible and I get up every day and I do what I have to do. And I go to church and I get to I'm a warrior when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm very diligent. And so anyways, I just wanted to share that with you guys tonight. And I hope everyone is having an amazing evening, Wednesday evening. And I will see you guys in my next video.